First off, your reaction that this is going to be the first time that we will see a criminal trial of a former president ever in American history. And it's on this case, and it's about to happen in a matter of days.
Yeah. Well, good morning, Rita. It's good to be with you today. I have said many times that I think that this case that Alvin Bragg has brought in Manhattan is a very weak case. Remember, these are misdemeanor charges that he has elevated with election finance law violations, federal violations. All of this should have expired before they were ever brought, but because COVID, they extended the statute of limitations for an extra year to then indict President Trump. But remember, President Trump is not going to be able to get a fair jury and an impartial jury in Manhattan, in New York City, because 70+% voted for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. President Trump did a poll that suggested 61% of the residents of Manhattan said that they thought he was guilty. And I just don't think that jury pool is going to be very fair and impartial like he's entitled to under the Constitution.
You know, you talked about the New York jury, and of course he tried for a change of venue. The judge said no. He tried to change the gag order. The judge said no. He tried to get it changed on pretrial publicity. The judge said no. Is there anything the judge is going to say yes to?
Well, and this is a good point. You know, Judge Merchan has demonstrated that he's hostile towards President Trump. You know, he donated to Joe Biden and other liberal causes. His daughter has made a lot of money off of this particular case, sending out spam emails on behalf of Adam Schiff and the Democrats in the Senate. And so we should not expect to get many rulings, or if any, in favor of President Trump. And remember, this case isn't about the facts. I think the facts are pretty well known. And what's alleged, I think it is ultimately up to the law. And as I laid out earlier, this is not a strong legal case. The Federal Election Commission has already said this isn't a violation of federal law. The Southern District of New York has already passed, and Alvin Bragg's predecessor already passed on this case. And so it's legally weak, but, you know, they're going to make us go through it. And I think, you know, hopefully, really beyond hope, we can get a jury that sees this for what it is, which is election interference, a completely weak case, and it cannot be proven beyond a reasonable doubt because it is so untethered in the law and such a novel legal theory.
You know, I have two questions for you because President Trump just came out yesterday and said that he will testify in this case. Do you think he really will? Do you think his lawyers will let him do it? And then the other is, who would you want on the jury?
Well, two things. I've tried jury cases both as a prosecutor and as a defense lawyer, and picking a jury is very important. There's a certain profile you want and a certain profile you don't want. But to my earlier point, I think it's going to be very hard to pick 12 people from a New York County, which is Manhattan, jury pool that are going to be fair and impartial. And, you know, whether or not President Trump testifies, that's going to be a call that's made after all of the evidence and all the other witnesses come in. Obviously, he wants to tell his story, and he wants to be heard by the jury who's going to stand in judgment of President Trump. But, you know, if you think about it, typically you don't put a witness on the stand. But in this case, I don't know why you wouldn't, because he's one that could refute all of these factual allegations. And the law, to my point earlier, is just so weak, Rita.
Well, it is going to be wall to wall. And also, you know that President Trump will make comments, I'm sure, on the way in, on the way out. Everybody in the world is going to be watching this. Matt Whitaker, thank you.